Hey friends, before we get started, we wanted to mention that in today's episode, we feature a guest, our friend and author, writer, amazing human being, Jenny Hagel. She has a new book out. It's called Advice No One Asked For, and you should definitely check it out. The link is in the show notes. Go buy one. It's great. Also, don't forget, the best way to support Mega is by going to mega.supercast.com. That's ad-free listening and the entire Mega catalog.
Mega is an improvised satire from the staff of a fictional megachurch.
We are here, the Lord, we are here, and we're ready to podcast.
Hiya, I'm Hallie Labont, and this is Mega, coming to you from Twin Hills Community Church, where every single week we're giving our mega church a tiny family feel. And per usual, I'm joined by my co-host. He's the youth pastor for our high school ministry called Climax. Please welcome Gray Haas.
When God became man, he's the one that I stand, Hallie. How are you?
Too blessed to be stressed, too anointed to be disappointed, and way too grateful to be hateful. Well, just like Jesus was both God and human, our guest today brings the human to our resource department. It's my pleasure to introduce Jan Hagen. How you doing today, Jan?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, so nice to have you here, Jan. Now, Jan, before we get into all of this, because, obviously we've had some human resources, I'll say issues, but,
Sure.
You've done a good job in smoothing those over. Give our listeners a little sense of what even is human resources.
Thank you for asking. Thank you for having me. And Gray, thank you for pronouncing issues correctly. So few people get it. That's a technical term in my industry that so few people pronounce correctly. Human resources look, our whole job is to make sure that human beings have the best possible experience at our organization. Some people do that at a company. Some people do that at a bank. Some people do that at a McDonald's. I do that for our church. I make sure that human beings have the resources they need to have a good experience.
Oh, I love that.
That is awesome.
And just the idea of humans as a resource, I think, is an interesting idea.
Yeah.
That's right. They're a renewable resource. If you put a bunch of them together, they do work. If one of them's not working, you fire them, you replace them with another human. Human beings are an interchangeable, renewable resource that will never run out.
Now, speaking of firings, do you get people in your office who are crying and begging to hold on to their job, and you've got to hold firm and get rid of them, take their computer and their keys and force them out the door?
That's right. That is a big part of my job. I'm impressed that you know that. Yes, a big part of my job is if someone in front of me is crying, I got a saying in my line of work, if you're crying, you're lying. What do you have to cry about if you're telling the truth? Nothing. So if someone is in front of me and they are crying, that's how I know it's time to fire them. So I have no reaction. A big part of human resources training is learning to suppress your emotions. If they are crying in front of me, I immediately shut down all my emotions. I take their computer, I take their work ID, and I have them escorted from the premises.
Oh,
Wow. And I know that's
I get
not
why
easy.
I like
A lot of women, we're conflict averse. We're afraid of, having direct talks. I just marvel at you that you're able to just speak directly to people's faces, say what you mean and mean what you say.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. You're right. Many women are conflict averse. And I myself am what I would call conflict seeking. And so, and I feel like this, to me, this is a feminist act. I think there's so many lines of work that are predominantly male, where you don't see women have the chance to excel, the chance to be part of that world. And my goal is to be part of human resources and show that women also can be constantly involved in conflict.
Oh,
Wow.
that is really fascinating
Yeah.
because, sometimes when I meet a lady who is into conflict, I'm going, whoa, guys, how do you even handle that? But what you're saying is you've kind of leaned into that. And I know a lot of people in your line of work like that term, lean in. And I've never really understood that either.
Oh, well, sure. Leaning in means okay, here's a bad situation. I can diffuse it. I can walk away from it, or I can press on it like a bruise and make it worse. And that's what leaning in is. It's seeing a problem and leaning into it to make it worse.
Wow.
And on the other side of that, hopefully a solution. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, sure, as a bonus, but really it's the leaning that I'm into.
Well, I know that you get a lot of guff every single year when you have to hold these sexual harassment training meetings for the entire church staff, because we're all looking at you going, Jan, Not a single person here is a sexual harasser. We're all Christ followers. So, these two things are mutually exclusive, but you say you're required by the state to force all this. Well, frankly, I think the conversation feels somewhat inappropriate to even talk about sexual harassment.
Hallie, I couldn't agree with you more, but sometimes look, we're Christians, but we're also law abiding. And so every once in a while, there's a law that makes no sense, right? Why do I have to wear a seatbelt? I've never been in a car accident. That's a stupid law, but I'm going to follow it. There's a law that says our public schools have to teach that the earth is round. Show me the curved edges. Never seen them. So every once in a while, there's just a law I'm going to go along with because it's easier for us as a congregation. I don't want us to get shut down. So I'm going to do this sexual harassment training, but I'm going to do it my way, right? So for example, I'm required to show a series of slides. One of them might say, here's an example of something that happened in a workplace. Is this sexual harassment? And then I will say, trick question, this will never happen in our workplace.
Yeah.
Love that.
And then I just do that for all the slides, and then we're done. And we have checked our box, and we have done what we needed to do to comply with the law.
Yep.
I like how you finished it by playing Frank Sinatra's My Way, which was so fun.
Yeah.
I thought that was great.
I do, and I did spend a lot of the church funds on acquiring the rights to that so I could play it, and I feel like it was worth it.
Definitely. That was worth every penny.
Well, you have an amazing pedigree. I mean,
Yeah.
I was looking over your LinkedIn. You've been with us for about 18 months now, but before that, you were at Blackstone and Enron and the Southern Baptist Conference. And I just feel like, you are someone that has been in charge of the human resources of large organizations. And what does it feel like to finally be in a place where probably you don't have near the problems that you would in a secular organization at an organization like this?
See, here's my hot take. I don't think most organizations have a problem with sexual harassment. I think there's a lot of crying wolf. I think that in our society, women are often overlooked. What's a better way to get attention than by claiming a crime has been committed? And I think that's what a lot of women like to do. And so at Human Resources, the first thing we learn to do is we have a saying in Human Resources. It's this magic 5 words that we like to say. A woman comes to me and says, hey, I have been harassed in some way. The magic 5 words, did you make this up?
Did you make this up?
First question in every inquiry, did you make this up? Look into your heart, look into your soul. Did you make this up?
Yeah.
Wow, I love that.
Yep.
Look, people are attention-seeking creatures. We crave connection. And if you don't feel like you have it in your everyday life, you will make it up. That's how we get social media influencers. And that is how we get sexual harassment claims.
I use a similar 5 words with the teens who are in climax, where I'll just say that is not a thing, that is not a thing, and a lot of times I can see them think, and they go, "You're right, that is not a thing," and then you kind of heads it off at the gap.
What's a recent example of a thing you've told them is not a thing? I'd be interested to know.
Oh, just like recently, a bunch of these ladies in youth group are coming in saying, I'm being bullied online. And I'm going, that is not a thing. First off, online, not really real life.
Well, yeah.
And if you're looking at it, then you're getting all worked up about it. How about you just don't look at it, and then it's not a thing? And they go, thank you for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right. Online is it's just like a nebulous thing that's happening in the air. And that's like saying I got high-fived in space. No, you didn't. Or I got audited in my dreams. Like, you can't, these aren't real concepts or places. Show me on Google Maps where that is. If you can show me online on Google Maps, then maybe I can believe something happened to you there. But
well, I do think that's a good segue, because I know recently, and one of the reasons you were brought in was because of this whole emails were being sent, and some were calling them, there was someone was sending an inappropriate email, and I'm going, well, it is email. It's not mail. It's not a letter you can hold in your hand.
that's right.
And so maybe did you make that up? Is that a thing? Can you say, are inappropriate emails even really a thing when you come down to it?
That's a good question.
Are emails even a thing? How many emails do we all get in a day that we don't answer and there are no consequences? Right? So how can email be real? I get emails all the time from Crate and Barrel because I bought a glass there once 20 years ago. So is that real? Is that communication real? Are we really taking emails seriously? I'm not.
And you probably don't have the glass anymore.
No, that's right. I got an email from the IRS saying I didn't pay my taxes and I was going to have a serious fine levied against me and possible jail time. Is that real? I mean, I don't think so.
Yeah, that is really interesting.
And it's wise to think this way too, because I've gotten scammed by believing emails were real, and I was given my credit card and stuff, and it was a nightmare.
Same. I got an email from my doctor that said, hey, your breast exam was irregular. Please come in for a follow-up exam. Nice try. You're not going to get more of my money. Nice try.
Exactly. I mean, I'll get emails from the vet offering me discounts on bags of dog food and stuff. I mean, everyone's just trying to sell you something. And I'm going to use your phrase, if you're crying, you're lying. That's really resonating with me because I have all these daughters who, I usually use the same 3 words. I say, dry it up. They come to me crying about something, this or that. I'm having an anxiety attack. I'm having my menstrual cycle. I say, dry it up. Because nobody wants to hear about it. I look at the Bible and I hear that the fruits of the Spirit are love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control. I don't hear whining in there and I don't hear crying in there. And, my daughters will say, I have a right to these feelings. And I say, those are not things.
There's a famous story we like to tell as Christians about the footprints in the sand. And there's a man who's looking over the course of his life and he sees these 2 footprints. And then at one point he says, but Lord, during the toughest times in my life, why was there only one? There's only one set of footprints. Why did you abandon me? And Jesus says, that's not when I abandoned you. That's when I carried you. But you know what we don't have as part of that story? Jesus complaining.
The new LinkedIn Hiring Pro can't undo your last hire. The empty seat. Who was actually just that? An empty chair in your office because you couldn't find someone to fill it. So it just sat there costing you money with all its fancy ergonomic features. But LinkedIn Hiring Pro can make it easy to fill that seat with the right candidate. With nearly 60% of businesses finding someone to interview in the first week alone. Hire right the first time with LinkedIn Hiring Pro. Post a free job today at linkedin.com/quality.
Tomorrow morning is knocking. Stock your fridge now. How about a creamy mocha frappuccino drink? Or a sweet vanilla? Smooth caramel maybe? Or a white chocolate mocha? Whichever you choose, delicious coffee awaits. Find Starbucks Frappuccino drinks wherever you buy your groceries.
Exactly.
Okay.
He's not like, that's when I carried you and you were very heavy and my arms got tired.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's hard to carry something on the beach because the sand is unsteady. None of that is in that story. Jesus isn't complaining, so why are you?
Oh,
See,
I love that.
That is awesome. And how do you picture Jesus carrying you? Is he throwing you over his shoulder like a sack of potatoes? Is he holding you like a bride across the threshold? How do you picture it?
To me, it's always on his shoulders like I'm a kid trying to see at a parade.
Yeah, that's awesome.
He's just hanging on to my little ankles so I don't fall down.
Here's the other thing about how he's not crying and complaining. He's walking in sand. Do you know how hard it would be to carry an adult human on your shoulders in sand?
In sandals, no less. You got sand getting in between your toes. Very uncomfortable. Jesus not complaining one time in that story. And I think that's a lesson for all of us, particularly anybody walking into HR. Before you file a complaint with HR, think to yourself, would Jesus have complained about this?
Yes.
That's it. Yep.
Right? Okay, like, the director of the folk group that plays at services put his hand on my knee. Would Jesus have complained about that? Probably not.
We should put that on a bracelet. WJ, the rest of those letters.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I guess I have to ask, how did you get interested in HR? Because I feel like a lot of kids growing up want to be an astronaut, a fireman, work for Goldman Sachs or something. But you said HR. Was that something from an early age?
I have an uncanny amount of upper body strength. And one of my high school teachers noticed that and said, what are you thinking about doing after high school? And I said, I don't know. And he said, have you thought about training for the FBI at Quantico?
Oh.
Because, famously, they have an obstacle course you have to pass to be able to be an FBI agent. We all saw it in Silence of the Lambs. So I did. There's a course of several steps before that. You have to go to college. You got to get either a law, some kind of graduate law or science degree. You have to apply to the FBI Academy. But I did all of that. And then not to brag, Lord doesn't love boastful people, but I do have on record the fastest time of getting through that obstacle course for a woman.
Wow.
So I did that, and then I worked for the FBI for several years doing things I am not allowed to tell you about, but mostly physical in nature, mostly very a lot of physical contact, again, a lot of upper body strength required. And then at one point I was asked to leave the FBI for reasons I am not allowed to tell you. And at that point I thought, well, I love being direct with people. I love being aggressive. I love policing. I love policing people's behavior, their thoughts, their feelings. Where else can I do that? Where can I do that in a lower body contact way? And I think the answer is human resources.
That's
Wow.
awesome.
You just climbed the ladder to the top.
Yeah.
Figuratively and literally.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that is incredible. Do you still do some of the obstacle course stuff?
I do have a ropes course in my backyard that I built myself.
Wow.
It's amazing. You can get a lot of barbed wire on Facebook Marketplace.
Oh,
I tried to take my teens to the ropes course because, famously at Twin Hills, we will do some team building at a ropes course every year, a Christian ropes course. And it's always great because, just like Jesus carried you on the beach, you've got to carry each other across, a sandbox or climb up a tree or do a truss fall. If you try to do a ropes course with a bunch of teenagers, I'm just telling you, it's rough. They are falling out of trees. They are definitely not catching each other. And a lot of times they don't have the physical strength just because, yes, their testosterone is raging, but they don't actually have enough testosterone to lift their body weight off the ground. So I've had a lot of injuries in those situations, but I would love to get out there with a bunch of like-minded adults. That's always cool.
Yeah.
I'm just so blown away that you're in the FBI. I'm going to be honest. I am so impressed. And especially because that gives you the ammo, I should say, to sort of put people in their place. And I think it's so cool that you were at the forefront of that whole kerfuffle we had with Tom Cloud in the mailroom and also Brett Schmitz in the prop department, both wearing those FBI tank tops that said female body inspector, which we all know is hilarious. That's in good fun. And, people were trying to complain and get them in trouble. And you were the one to step in and save them from the harassment they were getting.
That's right. I received an anonymous complaint in written form in my office. Somebody wrote a note. And so thanks to my training at Quantico, I dusted it for prints and then fingerprinted everybody in the congregation and was able to find the person, this is kind of an industry term, but the whiny baby who was complaining about those shirts. And I was able to ask them to leave the premises and the congregation.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nobody wants a killjoy. Why are we disciples of Christ? Why are we members of a congregation if not to experience joy, to celebrate, to bring out joy in each other? And so these men are just trying to have a good time with some, as you said, objectively hilarious t-shirts. And this person wants to squash their joy? That's not the Christianity. That's not faith.
And honestly, it's appropriate. If there is gonna be a female body inspector, thank goodness it's a man. That's how God made men. God made men to be highly interested in female bodies. The Bible tells us that men are very visual. They get turned on, just by seeing a woman. And that's why, we got to cover up. Women need to be more concerned about what we're wearing and less concerned about somebody's joke t-shirt.
That's exactly right. If you don't want to see that t-shirt, why do you think God gave you eyelids? Right? So that you can control. If you don't want to see that t-shirt, close your eyes, but don't ruin everybody else's good time. Also, frankly, female body inspector, that's an acrostic poem. You don't like poetry? There's so many reasons to love that shirt.
I am married.
I am not married. I have not been able to find a man who is comfortable with my level of comfort with myself.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Many men are threatened by this level of confidence.
And upper body strength.
That's right. Both those things. Men tend to, the last date I went on, a man leaned in for a kiss and I did kiss him, but while we were kissing, I did lift him up.
Oh, wow.
And he did not love that.
Oh, wow.
I was just trying to get him on my level because he was I mean, I am 6'2", so I was trying to lift him up to where I was, and he did not like that. So look, that's fine.
And did you do the Jesus lift where you put him on your shoulders, or what kind of?
I did. I tried, and he did not enjoy any of it. And so that's the last time I've been on a date, and that's fine, because I feel like I'm married to human resources.
Oh, that's awesome. And it's too bad that guy didn't have the wherewithal to, hang with you. And by that, I mean, you could hang him up,
Or hang from you, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, it's too bad because honestly, you could have used him as a human resource on your leg day. If you needed to do some deadlifting and you could pick up a short king, I mean, you're killing two birds.
Well, there's only one king I recognize, and that's Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. But yes, this man was a short prince at least.
Thank you. Yes.
Well, just, circling back to human resources, what is exciting that's coming up in the world of human resources, which I realize is probably a sentence that isn't said much, but if there is something, you're probably the one to tell us.
What's coming up that I find really exciting is a bunch of new forms. Whenever there's a human resources complaint, people have to fill out. Right now, they fill out one form. But I thought, you know what? That's too short. I want a lot of forms. I want there to be a lot of steps in the process. So I have come up with, I went to a human resources conference recently. Very wild. That crowd gets crazy. And I came away with a lot of new forms that I will be having people fill out. Forms that you fill out when you have a complaint. Forms you fill out after a complaint. Forms you fill out before you have a complaint, when you don't even have a complaint, just to kind of grease the wheels and get us in the process.
Well, I did notice that when I walked down the hallway the other day that you said no more email. It's we're doing all paper now. So when you go past the human resources offices, there's a series of mailboxes with various forms hanging from each one that, you've got to write it down in ink, and that is real. Not to shoot off some online thing that you don't know if it gets anywhere.
Yeah. None of this I was bullied online nonsense. Did it happen pen and ink? Can I hold it in my hand?
Oh, I love that.
Now, Jan, maybe you can lead us through a role play of what it's like to be in a human resource meeting. Like, I'll just do the most recent one I heard. And obviously we don't like to name names, but it was Becky Johnson. And she was all upset because she kept saying that her direct supervisor kept commenting on her body, telling her that she had nice arms, she should wear more sleeveless outfits, things like that. Things that we know are compliments and ways that, we make each other feel good, build each other up. So could I pretend like and we'll edit this out, Becky. I'll pretend like I'm Becky in your office and you can give us a glimpse of what HR is like.
Great idea. I love this. This is going to be really informative for your listeners and for anybody who may in the future try to file a complaint. So yeah, why don't you pretend like you're walking in my office, you're Becky, you're undisclosed person with a complaint, and then let's see how this goes.
You may think you know McDonald's drinks, but you don't know them like this. From fruity refreshers like the Strawberry Watermelon Refresher and the Mango Pineapple Refresher with popping boba, to crafted sodas like the Sprite Berry Blast with berry-flavored Sprite topped with cold foam. Who knew ice-cold drinks could be so fire? 6 all-new drinks are here. Try them all, now at McDonald's. Refreshers contain caffeine.
This spring, Uber Eats has you covered. Whether you're celebrating mom, dad, or your favorite grad, not all of us are great planners, and with the Uber Eats gift hub, you don't have to be. Send flowers, perfume, champagne, or just their favorite meal straight to their door. Gifts arrive in as little as 25 minutes, and you can add a personalized video message for that additional so-not-last-minute touch. So this spring, get a leg up on gift giving with Uber Eats. Last-minute gifts that land every time. Must be 21 or older to purchase alcohol. Product availability varies per region. See app for details.
Okay. Hi, Jan. I'm Becky. Well, I guess you already know that. Hi, Jan.
Hi, how you doing? Why don't you have a seat? Go ahead and sit down for me.
Wow, I like your FBI diploma.
Thank you. I earned it the hard way in Quantico.
Oh, wow. Quantico, is that a prison?
Becky, I'm bored. What is your complaint?
Oh, okay. I'll cut right to it. Well, my direct supervisor has taken a distinct interest in my arms because I one day wore a sleeveless dress and he keeps suggesting I do that more and it's making me uncomfortable.
Were you uncomfortable with suggestions? What, you're not open to critique and criticism? Is that what you're uncomfortable with?
Oh, wow. I hope not. I don't think so.
Okay. Let me ask you a question. Five little words I love to ask anybody who comes in here. Becky, did you make that up?
Oh, the thing about my direct supervisor?
Yeah, think real hard. Did that happen or did you make that up?
Well, he comments on my body several times a day, most days that he's in the office, which isn't 5 days a week. He's usually only in, Wednesday to Friday.
But sure, but like also, does he? Because like I know he's married. He's got a wife at home. He can look at a female body anytime he wants to. So is he looking at yours? And is he commenting on yours? Take a moment to think about it. Really reflect.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess he is married. I've met his wife. And I guess he does have kids. He's got twins who go to Climax.
That's right. So is it that he's commenting on your body or is he just taking an objective interest in fashion?
Is it maybe that I really like that dress and I'm just hoping maybe I'm wishing it was a BOGO or I'm trying to come up with an excuse to maybe go buy more of the same dress?
See, that's what I thought right when you walked in here, but I needed you to get there on your own.
Wow. How did you do that?
Wow, that was incredible.
It's some psychology I learned at Quantico. Again, cannot tell you more about it, but that is some like real criminal psychology stuff that I learned at Quantico.
I mean, the only thing missing was that Becky is literally one of the most annoying people that I've ever met. But I love that. And I think that is a good, because you're probably such an expert on human behavior at this point.
Yeah.
With your FBI stuff. And then you can just apply that to the HR situation.
That's right. And you decide what you want to say out loud and what you don't. For example, I clocked several things about Becky right when she walked in, but I waited till she was ready to, open up about certain things. And there's certain things I know about her that just aren't relevant to this conversation. Like I've already spotted several weaknesses and flaws in your marriage, but I don't need to say them, right?
Ah, yeah.
I love that.
And I do think Becky and Ronnie's marriage is in trouble. I mean, let's be honest. Yeah.
Well, you know what they say? They say honesty is the best policy.
I guess I just had one more question, which is a lot of times people, I feel like, are jealous and they come after Steve specifically.
Yep.
And, as a completely objective person who works with Steve all the time, I'm going, well, these are obviously fabricated.
Yep.
Why do you think that people are always coming after the powerful, good men among us rather than just kind of, slumming it in the ditch or whatever? I'm always curious about what is it about these guys who are at the top of their game that people always want to try to take down a peg, especially through HR?
I think it's like a video game, right? Life is like a video game. And when you play a video game, you don't want to bring down the boss that's at the end of level 1. You want to bring down the big boss, right? That's what you want. If you are somebody who likes to make up lies, you're somebody who likes to get attention, you're going to go for the top, right? You're going to try to tackle the largest challenge.
Right. It's kind of like that old game, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out.
That's exactly right. Do you want to fight Glass Joe or do you want to fight Mike Tyson? Do you want to fight Soda Popinski or do you want to fight Mike Tyson?
And Mike Tyson, as we know,
flawless, a person above reproach.
I want you to talk to one of my daughters, Jan, because I have a daughter who, maybe I could get her to be interested in the FBI. She's never been interested in feminine things like my other daughters. She wears nothing but Carhartt. She literally puts a bowl on her head and shaves around it with a pair of clippers. She has a best friend named Brandy. They're inseparable. They're always wrestling in the backyard and playing in the basement all the time, taking the car. And my daughter, she joined a pipe fitters union. She's been welding. She made her own guillotine in our backyard.
Incredible.
And she's very strong like you. And
she sounds like an excellent candidate for Quantico.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, see, this is good because she's also very, very strong. She recently, lifted up the car for me to get something out from under it. And she's handy to have around.
She sounds excellent. I'd be happy to talk to her. It's always my pleasure to mentor young women.
And maybe you could, show her how big your muscles are and that you don't have to shave your head. Or did you have to shave your head to get into the FBI?
I did it, but I did it more for aerodynamics. It wasn't like a fashion choice. It was more like there was one part of the obstacle course that I wanted to make sure I was able to get through smoothly. And I felt like my hair was weighing me down.
Right. That's right. I'm Holly Laurent playing Hallie Levant, and that over there, that's Greg Hess playing Gray Haas. If you would like the Mega VIP treatment and listen ad-free, just go to mega.supercast.com. We would love it if you did. Become a member. Do it. It'll feel so good.
Speaking of Supercast, it's a great time to join. There's a free trial, and that is the best way to make sure that Mega keeps going. You know, you'll get your 4 to 6 episodes per month ad-free, including a behind-the-scenes podcast that we make. And really, it is the way we keep going. So please consider a Supercast membership. A very special thanks to our founding members. That's Bobby and Betty, Nana and T-Pop, Adrian O, Kristen A, and Anonymous. You know who you are. See you next time.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Starting a business can seem like a daunting task, unless you have a partner like Shopify. They have the tools you need to start and grow your business. From designing a website to marketing to selling and beyond, Shopify can help with everything you need. There's a reason millions of companies like Mattel, Heinz, and Allbirds continue to trust and use them. With Shopify on your side, turn your big business idea into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.